There might be different opinions about the exercises beginners should learn when approaching the Western path. Starting with meditation and the lesser pentagram and middle pillar rituals, I believe those should also include a fundamental technique that's commonly neglected. Called the Rite of Elemental Equilibration, the same has an incredible utility despite its great simplicity. For this reason and because recently I've been asked what comes after the mentioned, I decided to explain it. For those wondering, I learned the rite from Sandra Tabata and Chick Cicero, particularly from their self-initiation into the Golden Dawn and Extended Middle Pillar books. So having this said, let me proceed with the following three. 1. Discussing the rite's purpose. 2. Explaining how to perform it. And 3. Finishing with some suggestions on placing it in your practices. Purpose. The Elemental Equilibration Rite is included in the Neophyte lecture provided in Self-Initiation into the Golden Dawn. Its primary purpose is preventing or fixing elemental imbalances possibly occurring in the practitioner's psyche, that being during the process of self-transformation and working with the elements. Quote, one of the goals of magical work is to bring the student an awareness of the inner elemental makeup of his or her own psyche. This awareness also includes the ability to experience the elements in an equal portion within the mind. Although the Kabbalistic cross is also excellent for this, the rite in question actively combats imbalances during this process. Therefore, you can think of it as another or even a more powerful tool for doing just that. Performance. Having a similar structure, the Rite of Elemental Equilibration somewhat resembles the Kabbalistic cross. If you don't know how to do the last, go check my middle pillar and lesser pentagram ritual posts. While the second only touches on it, the first goes in more detail when explaining it. The first needed to perform this rite is having some familiarity with the 5 elements alchemical symbols, so let's cover them quickly. Spirit, a spokeswheel sigil to remind of a phanim. Fire, red upright triangle. Water, blue downward triangle. Air, golden yellow triangle with a horizontal crossing line. Earth, black triangle with a horizontal crossing line. To perform the rite, you want to face east, just like you do when performing the middle pillar, or any of the pentagram rituals. Then you want to relax by utilizing the fourfold breath. If performing the rite in a sequence with others, you already achieved that via the preceding relaxation ritual. While most of these rites gestures match those of the Kabbalistic cross, some don't. What's also different are the holy power names to vibrate and the visualizations to assume. Step 1. Up. The first step is envisioning a ball of brilliant white light right above your head. If you already performed a Kabbalistic cross, a lesser pentagram ritual and the middle pillar, then the same is already there. In that case, merely gesture touching the sphere and bringing some of its light to your forehead precisely as you would in the Kabbalistic cross. Along with that, vibrate the Hebrew words Shaddai Elkai, that mean Almighty Living God. Doing so, envision the air triangle superimposed over your upper body. Step 2. Down. In this step, you bring your right hand down, making a gesture of pointing the ground. Simultaneously, you also vibrate Adonai Haaretz, which means Word of Earth, and envision the earth triangle covering your body. Step 3. Right. The following action to take is touching your right shoulder and intoning Yod-Hei Vav-Hei Tzabaot, that means Word of Armies. Voicing this name, you envision the far triangle covering your body's right side. Step 4. Left. Once done with the rite, you touch your left shoulder and envision the water triangle. Doing so, you also intone the god name Elohim Tzabaot, which means God of Hosts. Step 5. Center. Being the last, this 5th step boils down to 3 things. The first is clasping hands right in front of your heart or Tiferet center, that being with fingers interlocking and knuckles touching the same area, having your palms facing outward. The second is vibrating ETH or ETH while envisioning the spirit spokeswheel right at your body's center. Along with this, you want to also become aware of the connection between this sigil and your Keter sphere above. After spending a moment recognizing this, you proceed with rhythmic breathing and doing the following 4. Inhaling while envisioning the fire or red triangle, holding for 4 counts and imagining that of water, exhaling while visualizing the air triangle, and finally doing an empty hold, visualizing the triangle of earth. Once you complete that, you devote another moment to really feel the balanced elements in your psyche in a perfect harmony under the spirit's guidance. Comments. Simple as it is, the Elemental Equilibration Rite is a great technique to have in your toolbox. Where I think it becomes extremely handy are two cases. The first is when going through the actual self-initiation stages outlined in one of the books I mentioned. The second, when you start incorporating the greater or supreme invoking ritual of the pentagram in your practices in all their variations. Said differently, that's when you start to actively invoke a particular element within your life. For this, and based on personal experience, I consider it part of my daily practices, and depending on a given day, I may perform it twice. That's even when using the greater or supreme invoking ritual of the pentagram 4 elements, which also tend to produce a powerful balancing effect. Even that you may be different, I find getting the best results by placing the Elemental Equilibration Rite in two ways. The first is right after the middle pillar and the circulation of body of light, right after the opening lesser pentagram and hexagram rituals. The second, right after the greater invoking ritual of the pentagram for a particular element and before the closing rites. All this, however, is just a suggestion to experiment with. So go to that and perhaps let me know about your experiences, just like I did about many things in my book, OMAD Gains, Practical Self-Help and Natural Bodybuilding. Multidisciplinary, the same is for total self-development and can be found on Amazon on Paperback and Kindle. Besides how to get healthier and in shape through an epic body transformation, the book shows how to boost performance, drastically improve life quality, and bring under control the defined by Kabbalah as your nefesh or basic urges. By purchasing it, you not only invest in yourself, getting all that information in one place, but also support me as a creator. The second you can also do by visiting my Patreon page. Links for that are in the description. The money I make through that or my book, I will invest in gear for making more and better quality content. Thank you for your time.